Just Another Vampire Love Story by R. John Morrissey. I loved her ever since I spotted her outside the Starbucks on Covell Boulevard, where she works. She was chilly, sitting in the dark on a damp bench. Her spry student body would have preferred the warmth inside, behind the bar. Her uncaring lout of a boyfriend seemed to enjoy her shaking in the cold, speaking in his slow, methodical mumblings. I watched them both from the privet hedge and listened with my special hearing. I don't know why I hid. They couldn't have spotted me due to my other special ability. Her first words were defiant, at which I noticed her spirit. The spirit always comes first for me. I saw that she wasn't weak. I say now that there is no weakness within her. But then, with his patient insistence and her frigid skin, she acquiesced to his cruel demand. She rose from her seat and returned to her work inside, serving late-night coffee. But where should I really start my story? Before becoming a loathsome monster, a horrid, blood-sucking leech, I was an artist, young, with a gift for reproducing people in a medium of their choice. Striking women came to my studio regularly, that I might make their beautiful charms eternal. Paintings usually, but also in ceramic. Yet never had I seen such beauty as I saw from the bushes there at the Starbucks. None of my former models compared to Marian. Those first brief images of her will never leave my mind. I wanted to be near her, to live in her shadow as I actually could. Her presence, her very existence alone could make me forget how repugnant I truly am. She would be the balm to make my distorted existence tolerable. Indeed, it is one of my favorite imaginings. How could I make this imagined existence, she and I, work? I could spend my nights mere feet from her glorious presence, yet remain forever unnoticed in my forever shadow. But the truth is, I would be noticed. My terror, my ghastliness, would be revealed eventually. That would destroy her, as strong as she is. Uncovering me and my horrible reality would end her life. Nevertheless, I had to steal glimpses of her. I took to perching atop the light post outside her work and waiting. For months, when my nights didn't see me sating my foul hunger or tending my responsibility to the barony, I was atop that post. The brute of a boyfriend would come by very occasionally, as if he had to check up on his locked-away treasure. It was during these times that I would watch her, there in the dark. Her uniform did little to hide the pleasantness of her form. My rough, taloned hands ached to touch her delicacy. If I were to finger her blonde locks. But no, the corrupted can never deem to touch the holy. One of these nights the brute reprimanded Marian for breaking her phone, even though it was he that broke it. He coaxed her new number out of her. I remember the number as she spoke it. I couldn't imagine a time that I would call her or anything, as we are not meant to mingle, but the possibilities pleasantly fired my imaginations for many nights. Then an event caused me to embrace my new role in unlife. He held her by the wrist one rainy night and twisted. He was hurting her, and I regularly suspected so. I followed him home and twisted him. I worked almost to daylight, cleaning up the mess. But I couldn't let people think that there was an actual monster loose in Davis. No one will ever know what happened to him, and that's fine. Had I not been so filled with zeal, I might have pried out his phone passcode before slaughtering him. I might have left a goodbye text for Marian from his phone. That would have answered a lot of her questions about his disappearance. Alas. It saddened me that Marion wouldn't have reasons to emerge from the Starbucks anymore, except to leave at closing. A short trip from the door to her beat-up Honda was not much time to gaze, to study God's perfection made human. Still, a truly thirsty person will go to great lengths to receive a small cup of water. I continued my vigil, catching glimpses here and there, sometimes missing her completely, sometimes enraptured when she lingered. It wasn't until after dining on a wildly drunk Mexican that I actually texted her. What was I thinking? I clearly wasn't. What could ever come from such contact? On what Shakespearean sonnet did I write? Trite garbage. I pretended to be a tech guy from UCD, offering to help students in need with their tech problems. How desperate. And just for the hope of a response. I gave her my real name, for crying out loud. Ranjo, I said. Never in my greatest moments of bloodlusted insanity did I ever think she would reply. Hi, Ranjo. Yes, I have this old phone that is broken. My friend Brenda needs a phone, and if it's reasonable, maybe I could get it fixed? For a week I stayed in my room. I didn't want to dwell on her words, nor what they might, in my fantasy world, actually mean. Of course I thought about them, constantly, and about how stupid I was to ever text her. As much as I bashed and debased myself that week, I have to admit that I felt excitement. There was a rising energy in my dead heart. I decided to text her back. I took 3 nights to finalize the words I would come back with. First, to apologize for the delay, then to ask banal questions as to the nature of the phone's damage. Lastly, I promised very low rates for my help. I sent off my regrettable message and hoped. She continued to respond, and the words on my phone became my entire unlife. I was actually developing a rapport with this goddess, this superlative creature. I thought my next act was clever. I asked Marion to drop the broken phone off one night at a local tech shop. I watched her do so from the rooftop across the street. Then I broke into the tech shop and took the phone. I worked on the phone until just before dawn, using all of my dexterity and skill to get it functioning again. I took the moment to look through her pictures, saved them all to my computer, for future consideration. It amazed me how much I learned about her from her phone. Rose-tinted glasses and all that, but she remains wonderful in my eyes and in my heart. Our texting continued over the next few nights, and I notified her that she had won free services for her phone. She was our 1,000th customer and all that. I mailed it back to her at no cost. Oh, she was thankful. I read and reread her sentences 100 times each. That right there, well, that and the pictures, would have been enough to keep me going for centuries. But one lick from the ice cream is never enough. I continued to text her, and she me. She opened up about some upcoming events she had, and some problems she was enduring at school. I was shamelessly optimistic with my words, lifting her up at first, but then giving advice. It was when my meager advice paid off that she wanted to meet me. Me, in person. That wasn't going to happen. I made a crap excuse and put her off. I didn't want to lose the texting, but I didn't want to string her along either. Eventually, I figured out a way to prove that I existed, as she was starting to doubt. It couldn't be via speaking together, because my voice sounds like a tumbling plastic tote. I told her that I was very sick and contagious, and that I would wave to her from outside her work. She would see my silhouette in the window, and that enough would look normal. I wore an old thick sweater, a hoodie, and my trench coat, and figured that these were enough layers, enough to hide the bulbous distortions of my body. Then an hour before closing, I stood in the window and texted her. Her eyes searched for me, found me, and then she smiled. My heart fluttered to life at her glowing face. I waved to her and she back, but then she moved to come out to meet me. I vanished. I climbed my perch on the post and watched her, invisible to her eyes. The breeze hid my carnal scent. She called my name and she looked for me. My name. I figured over the next several nights that this encounter would be the high point of our relationship. I pondered the finality of that, but was overjoyed when Marion took up texting me again. It seems she finds some comfort in it. In weeks to follow, the texting continued, and I did come clean to an extent. I told her that my condition doesn't allow me to meet with people in person, that I can't have normal relations due to my contagion. Then with broken heart, I told her that she should move on to a fuller relationship, a better relationship. She should find someone that she could be with. To my surprise, she was willing to continue, just at the promise of textual conversation. As I can never have anything more, it was an offer I could not refuse. We are good friends now, I dare say, this piece of unsatiated filth and this paragon of holiness. I exist for our conversations, but am never physically far from her. Anything she needs, I try to provide. If any danger approaches her, I deal with it in advance. And if another brute tries to win her hand, I will eat him.